The man sat barefoot in front of the devilish arcade machine. Without hesitation, he pulled out 10 million from his bag and exchanged it all for a single ball card. The people around him stared in shock. Each marble in the machine was worth 4,000 yuan, and if he got lucky today, he might win all the marbles, meaning the ultimate jackpot of 700 million. But this devilish machine had 3 levels, and each was more difficult than the last. The first level was the Forest of Nails, where there were, on average, only 100 marbles. If one marble made it through, that would be considered luck. If he passed this level, the second level would be the Guardians of the Door, where marbles were blocked by constantly opening and closing teeth. Out of 300 marbles, passing just one would be a miracle. Only then would he face the third level, where the real nightmare began. The first layer had only 3 holes, and the marble had to go through the red one to move on to the second layer. The second layer had 4 holes. Most people would stop at this level. The man, too, was no different. Within just a few minutes, he lost 5 million yuan. He called over a waiter and ordered a beer to calm his nerves. But, in reality, this was just the beginning of his plan. A person with a beer slowly approached and stopped behind the man. The marbles kept firing out. Suddenly, a miracle happened. One marble made it all the way to the third level and successfully entered the first layer's disc. The man excitedly handed the beer to the person next to him. But the marble then entered the second layer, and the man clasped his hands in prayer, hoping for more luck. But even with his hopes high, the marble fell short of making it. He pretended to be upset, spinning around and snatching the beer back. The staff who were responsible for overseeing the game didn't notice anything unusual. In fact, the man and the person with the beer were working together. The man had studied the machine for years and discovered that it was possible to control the marble's trajectory, meaning the balls would never stray from their predetermined path. They would never actually fall into the winning hole. After realizing the casino was cheating, the man came up with a solution. He took a can of beer, hollowed out the bottom, and placed a magnet inside. When the game became intense, he could switch beers with the person next to him, giving him access to the cheating tool. The plan seemed flawless. By simply bringing the can close to the machine at the crucial moment, he could use the magnet to control the trajectory of the marbles. When he won, everyone would be excited, distracted by his success, and they would ignore his hands and movements. In the chaos, he could switch the beer back and avoid being caught by the staff. The man was getting more and more excited thinking about the moment he would win. Then, another marble made it to the third layer and successfully passed the first and second layers, directly entering the third. The onlookers began to cheer. This was the moment that would determine the man's fate. He slowly brought the beer can closer to the machine, ready to use the magnet to alter the marble's trajectory. Victory seemed so close, and he held his breath, waiting for the miracle to happen. But in the next moment, the marble swerved and completely bypassed the winning hole. The man's dream failed. He thought it was because the magnet inside the beer can wasn't strong enough, but the staff simply sneered. In this gambling game, who was the real prey? No one could predict it until the last moment. The man had already lost 10 million yuan, and his marble cards were used up. His financial losses had surpassed half of his total wealth, yet he refused to give up. He pulled out his wallet and withdrew another 10 million yuan. The casino, of course, didn't refuse to accept more money. Then, the waiter suddenly said something, and Kaiji, following the staff, overheard a terrifying conversation. It turned out the casino had already done a background check on the man, and the machine had other unactivated security measures. Kaiji realized the plan had already failed. He quickly ran back to the scene, hoping to stop the man from continuing to gamble. But the man's luck seemed to be returning. Several marbles entered the third level again. The man still foolishly believed he could win using the beer can trick, but of course, he failed again. Kaiji kept trying to persuade him to stop, but the man was a hardcore gambler and refused to listen. He had already lost over 10 million yuan, and he believed that quitting now meant losing everything. He was convinced that if he tried a few more times, he would win the 700 million jackpot.